Hey everyone, another quick tutorial here today on how to add transitions to your project. So I've opened my project and added my video files. Now I'm going to show you how to add transitions between these videos. So the most basic transition is just a straight cut. Straight cut, we don't add any effect, it just goes from one video clip into the next. You can see that's what I have here. I haven't added any transitions. So when I hit play, it finishes this clip and moves straight into the other clip. Sometimes you may want to add an effect though. Premiere Pro has a lot of built-in video transitions that you can add to your project. To get to them, you're going to want to go to the Effects tab, and then to Video Transitions, and then there's a huge list here. If Effects isn't open, you can go to Window, and then click Effects, and that'll bring up the Effects bin. Now we gotta choose which transition to add. There's a few common ones. If you want to see every transition, you can watch our video detailing all the transitions in Adobe Premiere Pro. So move your cursor between two clips and let's choose a transition to add. For this one, I'm going to go under Dissolve and choose a cross dissolve. Click the transition and drag it onto your project where you'd want it to be. You might see this warning: insufficient media. This transition will contain repeated frames. So you're going to get this warning when you add a transition between two clips that are their full length. So to fix this, I'm going to delete this transition, and I'm going to trim back the end of this first clip a couple frames, and I'm going to trim forward this second clip a few frames. I'm going to move them together and re-add the cross dissolve. Now you notice we don't get that warning anymore. It's because it's using those frames that we trimmed to fill in the blanks in this cross dissolve. So now when we play it, it cross dissolves much smoother. We can drag the cross dissolve so that it's more in this first video, so it cross dissolves more in that direction, or we can drag it so it cross dissolves more into the second video. If we double click the cross dissolve, we can set its duration. It will also bring up this effects control where we can change different settings. So this one allows us to change where it starts, where it ends. Other effects may have different settings. So if we move over to our next transition and zoom in, I'm going to trim these so we don't get that error and bring them back together. So let's choose a bandwidth. You can see that I can drag the transition shorter, but it won't go longer than this. That's because the information that I trimmed out of the video is only that long. So if I want to make this clip longer, I can delete the transition and I can trim more of the video, move the video clips back together, and then when I put the band wipe in, it can be up to that long. As you can see, there's multiple settings in this effects control window. There's center at cut, start at cut, end at cut for alignment. You can change the duration here. If you click this show actual sources, up here it's going to show you the sources instead of that A-B preview. And you can change the start and end up there. Border width, so if we move in, we see that it has these bands that come through the video. Border width is going to add a border around these bands. So let's drag it to something noticeable. So it adds these black borders. We also can change the border color, and you can either use this teardropper, so let's say I want it to be the color of the sand. Or you can click this and choose a color from in here, and that's going to change the color of the bands. You can also reverse the effect. You can also change the number of bands by hitting custom. Maybe I want 15 bands. Hit OK. Now the bands are much smaller and there's 15 of them. So you can play around with the settings. Every effect is going to have different settings. I'm going to delete this. You can also hit Control D. That's going to add a cross dissolve as the default transition. Instead of choosing a transition from over here, you can also hit Control D and it's going to give you the default transition, which is cross dissolve. Now there's a lot of different effects over here and it can be kind of overwhelming. Some very common ones to use are dip to black, dip to white, cross dissolve. So we've already looked at cross dissolve. Let's look at dip to black real quick. So dip to black, it's going to fade out to black and then fade in from black. And dip to white is going to do the same thing except for white instead of black, obviously. So it's going to fade out to white and fade in from white. So if you found any of this information useful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more tutorials. Thanks, guys.